weaponized psychosis, and I want to get a thought down before I forget it. So, I've been listening to Ted Kaczynski's The System's Neatest Trick. And this wasn't necessarily related to what he was writing, but there was a small piece in there in which he talked about women entering the workforce and how feminists pushing the idea of women's rights is not a revolutionary act, but ends up working in the system's favor and turns, these women into useful idiots. Okay, hold on. I just gotta fix some of this grass. It's starting to just fly out. Fucking grass. Let's hope that grass stays in there, but it probably won't. Hopefully I can at least get away from... I can get out of town and get away from cars. Okay, so he had brought up the fact that part of the reason why women had entered the workforce so willingly after the fact was because the state in which women had already been in, like being housewives at that particular time, was like an incredibly demoralized state. And so there was a totally demoralized state, like just having a lone housewife, an empty home for 8 hours a day, or however long. If she had kids or not didn't matter because they were being raised by the public school system. And that was as far as Ted went with it, and that was the gist of what he had said. I had even kind of embellished the point, but that was the state women were in, and that's a very unnatural state for a woman to be in, and it's part of the reason why it's so hard. And I know Dutton's talking about he's been noticing more and more women go to right-wing events at the Whitney and whatnot, but just historically, why is it so difficult to get women to aggregate to right-wing ideas over the last 70 years? And I think this is part of the reason why, is that this state that women were in the 1940s and 50s was actually an incredibly unnatural state, and it was really horrible from the perspective of a woman. If you actually, and I'm saying this trying to recognize this in kind of an empathetic way, and say that my tarp that I have for all my grass is just flip-flop around. And I'm not trying to be like an empathy fag here, but just looking at things from a strategic power politics kind of way. This has never been the state of women, and that horrible 20-year span between the 40s and 50s traumatized women to the point where they never want to go back, because the nature of women is to be social. It is, and that is because it binds them to their sanity, is that women don't like being alone the same way men like being alone. They don't want to feel, they don't cope well with being totally by themselves for long periods of time over the course of several days a week. That's actually a very traumatizing thing for them, is that women are meant to be around other women, or they're around to be around men that they're related to or they're married to, and that the two worst situations that a woman can be in is either surrounded by strangers or totally alone, which are functionally the same thing. How do you fucking suck my dick? Quit fucking tailgating me, you cunt. And that is the core reason why, when we start, our guys on our side who fuck's sakes. Yeah, okay, sorry, I just had to pull over there. That's because there's shit fucking flying out the back, and there was a guy fucking tailgating me, but I didn't want to get a ticket or anything. Okay, sorry. So when guys start talking about, like, wanting to have, like, traditional 1950s marriage, like, because, like, that is, like, a good end of the deal on their side. And, it's a very autistic way of looking at things. Like, women had it. I don't think that, unless you're like a totally useless person and you're a garbage person, like the whole argument is like, oh, women had it better back in the day because they had all this technology, their husbands took care of them, yada yada yada, they didn't have to do work. As I've gotten older, I've disagreed more, and I've learned to disagree with Nietzsche more and more. And Nietzsche has a quote that the mark of nobility or the mark of aristocracy is being able to play instead of work. And I don't think that's true. I think that part of being an adult is being able to find meaningful labor. And if you can't, this is very like neocon kind of like way, and that's, I'm not trying to say this in a kind of neocon way. Like, having productive work doesn't mean working within the system. I would equate it more to Ernst Jünger in The Forest Passage of a person viewing themselves as an anarch or a yeoman, of like, your work is self-contained, it's contained within your locale, like you can actually see the end product of what you're doing, and that is more this is getting more into like the aspect of like what is meaningful for men. It's alright, it's getting away from my initial point, which is the woman point, though, the women question. The other point I wanted to make while it's on my mind is like, women, like socialization actually binds a woman's sanity differently than it does for men. Like, women actually need consensus in order to keep themselves sane, and when they're cut off from that, that's when they go fucking nuts. That's why, like, you have all this like crazy fucking self-destructive shit, is that women are constantly looking for consensus. Like, they exist within consensus reality. They don't push up against reality in the same way that men do. Women receive, I almost view it like how a cell works. So masculinity would be like the cell wall of an amoeba, and that things from the outside basically pass through, and men basically get to say yes or no. It is the pieces within the cell, which is the feminine, that basically takes the broken up pieces from the cell wall and distributes it amongst the cell itself. They distribute the resources amongst it. But in order to do that, there has to be consensus. And as I said, the fact that women are currently cut off from that really fucks with them psychologically. Anyways, alright, I'm not stumped now. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.